In this video, we're going to talk about one of nature's most, well, unique creations, the porcupine. Yeah, everyone knows them for that spiky defense system, but trust me, there is so much more to these fascinating animals than meets the eye. So, let's dive right in. Okay, but first, let's just get to the big question on everyone's mind, right? Can they really shoot their quills? Like tiny little arrows? It's that classic image we've all seen in cartoons, but is it fact or is it fiction? We are definitely going to get to the bottom of that in just a little bit. So, what exactly is a porcupine anyway? Well, to start, they're part of the rodent family. I'm not kidding, they're actually relatives of beavers, mice, and even capybaras. And get this, they're one of the largest rodents in the entire world. Now, you might think a porcupine is a porcupine, but it turns out not all of them are the same. They're actually split into two totally different groups that evolved on opposite sides of the planet. You've got your old world porcupines over in Africa and Asia. They're usually bigger and hang out on the ground. Then there are their new world cousins over here in the Americas. They're typically a bit smaller and are absolutely fantastic climbers. Sometimes spend pretty much their whole lives up in the tree. And this incredible adaptability, it doesn't stop there. It extends to where they live too. I mean, you can find porcupines all over the globe, in almost every kind of environment you can think of. We're talking dense forests, sprawling grasslands, even scorching deserts in those rugged, rocky hillsides. They're everywhere. So you gotta wonder, what do they even eat in all these different places? Well, porcupines are total herbivores, and what they eat really depends on the season. In the winter, when things are scarce, they might have to rely on the inner bark of trees. But when spring and summer roll around, they switch it up, feasting on all sorts of things, like berries, grasses, leaves, and roots. Their social lives are pretty interesting too, with some real variations. A lot of porcupines, especially the ones in the New World, are pretty solitary. They just do their own thing. But some of those old world species, they're totally different. They actually formed lifelong pair bonds and live in these small family clans. It's a really simple family structure though, there's no chief or boss calling the shots. And here's something that might surprise you. Porcupines live for a really long time, especially for a rodent. In the wild, they can live up to 18 years, which is already impressive. But one porcupine in captivity lived to be over 32 years old. That actually makes it the longest living rodent ever recorded. How incredible is that? Okay, so this brings us to a kind of tricky question. How do two very spiky animals, mate? It's not simple, that's for sure. It actually involves this really elaborate ritual. First, the males will compete for a female. The winner then does this unique courtship dance, which ends with him showering the female with his urine. Yeah, you heard that right. And hey, if she's impressed, she'll lower her clothes so they can meet very, very carefully. And all that leads to one of the absolute cutest names in nature. A baby porcupine is called a porcupet. Isn't that great? A female usually has a litter of about 1 to 3 of them, and thankfully for the mom, their quills are actually soft and bendable when they're born. They harden up within just a few days though. And after that, both parents stick around to help raise the little porcupet. All right, it's time. Let's finally bust that myth from the beginning. Can porcupines shoot their quills? The answer is no. They absolutely cannot. It's a really great story and it makes for fun cartoons, but it's pure fiction. Their real method of defense is, well, it's a lot more up close and personal. Get ready for this number. A single North American porcupine can have up to 30,000 quills covering its body. It's just wild. And these things aren't projectiles at all. They're actually just modified hairs that are super loosely attached to the skin. All it takes is the slightest touch, and they detach embedding themselves into whatever was unlucky enough to get too close. A porcupine doesn't just go straight to the quills. It has a whole multi-stage defense plan. First, it'll raise its quills up to look way bigger and more intimidating. If that doesn't work, it'll start crying its teeth as a warning sound. It might even release this really strong, unpleasant odor. And if the threat still hasn't gotten the message, that's when the porcupine will just charge backwards, ramming its quills right into the attacker. So who would be brave enough, or maybe foolish enough, to take on this spiky defense system? Well, a few key predators have actually figured it out. The fisher, which is a type of weasel, is a specialist. It's super skilled. It attacks the porcupine's face and then flips it over to get at its soft, unprotected belly. Great horned owls, lions, and wolves are also on that list of known enemies. Alright, Now for a few more fun facts, because these guys are full of surprises. Have you ever wondered what you call a group of porcupines? It's not a herd, it's not a flock, it's a prickle. How perfect is that? A prickle of porcupines. It just makes sense, doesn't it? This next one is an absolutely incredible adaptation. Scientists discovered that their quills are actually coated in a substance that contains natural antibiotics. The thinking is that this is to protect the porcupine in case it, accidentally pokes itself, which could totally happen if it, say, falls out of a tree or something. And while they might look a little clumsy waddling around on the ground, don't let that fool you. Porcupines are surprisingly agile in other places. For one, their hollow quills help them float, which makes them really good swimmers. And like we mentioned earlier, those New World species are expert climbers. They use their long claws to just scramble around the treetops like it's nothing. Just to give you a sense of their size, the North American porcupine is a pretty hefty animal. We're talking up to 90 centimeters long and weighing around 9 kilograms. That size actually makes them the second largest rodent in all of North America. The only one bigger? The beaver. So let's circle back. If you can't shoot your weapons, what's the next best thing? Well, for the porcupine, the answer is a crazy effective close contact defense system. These self-medicating, easily detached quills, they're just a perfect example of evolution finding an amazing solution. It's a weapon that not only hoods an enemy, but also protects the porcupine from itself. Just brilliant. Alright, that is it for this video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.